Her stepfather's forced to spend Christmas with a wealthy CEO, but she never expected her stepfather's last request. Before we start today's story, comment below where you're watching from and hit subscribe if you haven't already. You won't want to miss what's next. Alara sat at the table. Her stepfather's voice was hard. "You will do exactly as I say, Alara," he said. He sounded very sure. He did not want any arguments. He raised his fork and it hit the plate. The sound was sharp. Alara's hand shook. The fork fell from her hand and hit the plate. "Cassian Vale," she whispered. "The CEO? Why me?" She was very small in the big kitchen. She felt cold inside. Her stepfather smiled, but it was not a kind smile. It was a mean, cruel smile. "Because I owe money," he said, "and you are the only thing I can use." He leaned forward. "You are my only collateral," he said. "That means you are what I can trade." Alara felt her heart pound. She could not breathe right. He had treated her like a thing. She felt like a puppet on a string. She wanted to cry. "I won't," she said. Her voice tried to be calm. "You can't make me." Her stepfather put his hands on the table. The cutlery rattled. "Enough," he said very loud. "You think you have a choice? If you refuse, I will take everything. Your college money, the bakery your mother left you, everything." His voice sounded like thunder. Alara's chest felt tight. The bakery was not just a shop. It was a warm place full of her mother's bread smell and her mother's stories. Losing it felt like losing her mother again. She swallowed hard. Her eyes prickled. "Why would Cassian want me?" she asked quietly. "Why would he care?" Her stepfather's smirk got bigger. "Men like Cassian don't ask many questions when they want something," he said. "This is business, not love. It's only a deal." Alara held her hands under the table. Her fingers curled into fists. She wanted to run. She wanted to shout, but she knew there was a shadow over her, the shadow of her stepfather. She felt trapped. At last she whispered, "If I go, will you stop?" She felt all the hope in her words. He said, "If you do what I say, you will save our family name. Consider it your duty." He spoke like it was something she had to do. "Sometimes girls like you have no other option." Those words cut her like a knife. They were unfair. They made her very sad. But his face did not show any kindness. Later, Alara packed her small suitcase in her room. She folded each piece of clothes slowly. She touched them like they were armor. She looked at herself in the mirror. She saw a scared girl. She also saw a brave girl. She said softly, "You will not break me." When the town clock chimed 9, a black car stopped outside. The car was shiny. It reflected the bright Christmas lights. Her stepfather came to the door and said, "He is waiting." Alara picked up her small bag. The bag felt heavy, but not as heavy as her worry. Her stepfather gripped her shoulder hard. "Remember," he hissed, "do not disappoint him." Alara pulled her shoulder free. She walked down the stairs. The driver opened the car door. The driver's face was blank. He pointed at the seat in the back. Alara climbed in. The leather felt cold and smooth. The door closed with a heavy sound. The car drove away. The city lights blurred past. Alara pressed her forehead to the window. Outside were people smiling and children playing in the snow. There were couples holding hands. It was a warm and happy sight. That world felt far from her. She thought, maybe Cassian is very powerful. Maybe he can help. Maybe he is the only person who can stop her stepfather. That small hope kept her going. That night, Alara was not going to a party. She was going into a big, strange world. It would be filled with loud feelings, fear, anger, and something like a storm. She was on her way to meet a very important man. Back in her room, before she had left, she had hidden an envelope under her mattress. The envelope had papers inside. There were receipts, messages, and banknotes. They showed what her stepfather had done. He had taken money that belonged to her. He had sold pieces of the bakery that her mother left. The papers were proof of his bad choices. She spread the papers on the bed. She traced each line with her finger. He had not only spent their money, he had stolen some of it. He had made bad trades that tied him to Cassian Vale. If she showed Cassian these papers, would she be safe? Would he help her and make everything right? Or would he look at the papers and send her away? Would he think she was trouble? The thought made her stomach hurt. She put the papers back into the envelope. She hugged the envelope close. "If I show this," she whispered, "will it save me or make it worse?" Her hands felt small on the paper. It was heavy like a secret. Downstairs, she could hear her stepfather on the phone. His voice was sharp. He made plans like she was a package to be delivered. That made her angry. It made her feel like she was not a person. She tucked the envelope into her bag. She zipped it tight. The envelope was her tether, her small rope that held her safe. It could also be the thing that hurt her. She did not know. The driver honked. It was time. Alara put the bag by her side. She felt the snow crunch under her shoes as they stepped out. The car stopped at a tall glass building. It had many windows. The lights made it glow. Alara felt very small. The driver opened the door. "This way, miss," he said. Inside the lobby, it was very shiny. The floor was smooth. The chandeliers hung from the ceiling like stars. The guards watched her every step. It was not warm like the bakery. It was cold and neat. The elevator climbed up and up. The numbers ticked by. When the door opened, Alara felt weak. She walked into a big office. It had black chairs and a huge desk. The windows showed the whole city below. There he was, Cassian Vale. He stood with his back to her and looked out at the lights. He was very tall. His suit fit him like he was wearing armor. He turned slowly. His face was serious. His eyes looked like they knew everything. "Alara," he said in a low voice. He sounded calm. "Come in." Alara walked forward slowly. She stood near his desk. He looked at her like a hawk. "You look nervous," he said. "Do you know why you are here?" Alara opened her mouth to say, "My stepfather," but Cassian put up his hand. "I do not want excuses," he said. "I want clarity." He walked around his desk like he was looking at all the pieces of a game. "You are here because of a deal," he said. "Your stepfather thinks you are a way to fix his problem. I think you are a risk, but risks can be used if you are careful." Alara felt small. She said softly, "I am not useless. I can think. I can help. I am not just his pawn." Cassian stopped and looked at her. "With what?" he asked. "What can you do?" His question sounded like a test. Alara thought hard about the envelope in her bag. Her heart felt hot. Should she show him the papers now? Should she trust this powerful man? She feared he might throw the papers away and send her home. She feared she might make things worse for herself. Cassian picked up a pen and clicked it between his fingers. He set it down with care. "This is how it will work," he said. "You will do as I ask, you will follow my rules, and I will help you survive. Think of it as an unwritten contract." Alara's throat felt tight. If she said no, Cassian said she would learn how fast her world could fall apart. The room grew very quiet. Alara looked up and met his eyes. She did not bow her head. She was scared, but she did not kneel. She held her ground. Her knees shook, but she did not give up. Finally, Cassian gave a little smirk. A tiny spark of amusement crossed his face. "Good. You didn't jump back. That means you might be strong enough to handle this." Alara let out a slow breath. Her body was shaking, not because it was cold, but because Cassian's presence felt so heavy. This wasn't just talking. It felt like a battle without weapons, a fight made of looks, silence, and unspoken challenges. Alara realized something in that moment. Cassian Vale was not just a man. He was like a storm, loud, powerful, dangerous, and if she wasn't careful, he could swallow her whole. She stood frozen in his large office. Behind him, tall glass windows showed the city, the buildings shining as if even the skyline bowed to his strength. She hated how much she noticed everything about him. How he moved, how he spoke, even the faint smell of leather and smoke in the air. The tension between them was sharp, like a wire ready to snap. "You're trembling," Cassian said calmly, his eyes never leaving hers. "Is it fear, or is it something else?" Alara stiffened. "You're imagining things." Cassian stepped closer, and his presence felt overwhelming. "No," he said softly. I don't imagine. I read people. And you, Alara, are a storm too, one that is barely holding itself together. Alara wanted to step back, to move away from him, but her body betrayed her. It stayed still, pulled toward him like a magnet. His confidence, his control, it made her angry. Yet, her heart was beating faster because of it. You don't own me, she whispered. Cassian tilted his head, his smirk returning. Not yet. Her heart slammed in her chest. His words hit her like fire. But behind those words, she felt something else, curiosity, maybe even respect. He wasn't treating her as something broken. He was looking at her like she was a puzzle he wanted to solve. Alara lifted her chin bravely. You think everyone bends to your will. I won't. The corner of Cassian's mouth curved upward. Good. Defiance makes things interesting. Their eyes locked. The silence between them felt so heavy she could barely breathe. Alara's palms tingled, her breath came in short gasps. She hated herself for noticing the way his suit fit perfectly on his shoulders, or how his voice sounded smooth and dangerous at the same time, like velvet mixed with steel. Cassian slowly circled around her, his footsteps echoing on the shiny marble floor. Your stepfather thought you'd come here broken, but instead you arrived with fire inside you. I admire that, even though I planned to test it. Alara clenched her fists. You don't get to decide who I am. Oh, Alara, he murmured, stopping behind her. His breath brushed against her ear, and it sent shivers down her spine. I already see who you are. You are vulnerable, yes, but also strong and unyielding. That mix is rare. Her pulse raced so loudly she thought he must hear it. She shut her eyes, fighting the wave of heat running through her. Don't give in, she told herself. Don't let him win. You're trying to scare me, she said aloud, forcing her voice to stay steady. No, Cassian said, walking back around to face her. His eyes glowed sharp. If I wanted to scare you, you'd already be on your knees. I want something else. Alara's lips parted, but no words came. The room felt smaller and smaller, as if only Cassian existed inside it. His gaze pinned her in place. She tried to back away. I don't want this. Cassian's eyes narrowed. Your body says otherwise. Her cheeks burned hot. Don't twist me into your game. He leaned forward, bracing one strong hand on the desk near her. His body was close, but he didn't touch. This isn't a game, he said softly. This is what must happen. Alara swallowed hard, her throat dry. I'm not a contract. I'm not an arrangement. You're mine the moment you choose to be, Cassian cut in, his voice low and steady. And I see the war inside you, fear on one side, desire on the other. Her knees felt weak, but she stayed standing, forcing herself to look him in the eye. Even if you're right, I'll never admit it. Cassian's smirk deepened, but his tone softened enough to make her shiver. That's what makes you both dangerous and desirable. The word desirable hung in the air like a heavy bell. Alara's breath grew quicker. For a moment, she almost imagined leaning toward him, imagined letting herself surrender to the storm he carried. But then she remembered her stepfather, his cruel smirk, his threats. This wasn't freedom. This was another trap, even if it felt exciting. She turned her head away. I should leave. Cassian didn't move. He didn't even blink. You won't. Her eyes snapped back to him. How do you know? Because you want to prove me wrong, he said simply. And to do that, you'll stay. You'll fight. And in fighting, you'll fall deeper than you ever imagined. Exactly as you shared it, without changes. Alara's hands shook at her sides. The truth in his words scared her more than his power. He saw right through her armor, into the hunger she tried to hide. But beneath his control, she noticed something unexpected, a flicker of respect. He wasn't laughing at her fear. He was impressed by her bravery to stand against him. That made his danger feel even more tempting. The next morning, Alara stood at the tall windows of Cassian's penthouse office. The whole city glowed gold under the winter sun. She hadn't slept much. Every word from last night replayed in her head. His presence clung to her mind like a storm that refused to pass. Cassian entered without warning, dressed sharp in a charcoal suit, holding a folder. "Alara," he said, his tone brisk, like business, "we have appearances to make." She turned, surprised. "Appearances?" He placed the folder on the desk and opened it. Inside were shiny invitations with golden letters, holiday charity events, galas, dinners. "The season demands visibility," he said, "and now you'll be at my side." Alara's heart skipped. "At your side? You expect me to parade around with you, like your partner?" Cassian cut in smoothly. "It's what they'll assume, and it's what I want them to assume." Her mouth went dry. The idea of standing next to him, photographed, whispered about, headlines flashing, Cassian Vale and Mystery Woman, terrified her. "I didn't agree to this," she whispered. "You agreed to nothing," Cassian said evenly. "But you are here, and being here comes with obligations, unless, of course, you'd prefer I tell your stepfather you refused me." The words hit her like a weight. She thought of the bakery, her mother's legacy, and the knife her stepfather held over it. Survival left her no room for pride. "Fine," she said quietly. "I'll go." Cassian's eyes flickered with satisfaction, though his face stayed calm. "Good. Tonight, we begin." That evening, Alara stood in front of a mirror in a dressing room Cassian had arranged. A stylist fixed the hem of her gown, an emerald green dress that hugged her shape with elegance she had never known. Diamonds sparkled at her ears, borrowed from Cassian's collection. She barely recognized the girl staring back. Gone was the cornered girl at her stepfather's table. In her place stood a woman pushed into a spotlight she never wanted. The door opened and Cassian walked in. His eyes swept over her once, sharp and appraising. For a long moment, silence hung. Then his voice dropped lower than usual. "You clean up well." Alara's cheeks grew warm. "This isn't me." "It is tonight," Cassian replied. "Remember, every smile, every glance, it's a performance. They'll all be watching." "They always are," she muttered. Her hands fidgeted. "And if I make a mistake, then you learn fast," he said firmly, locking eyes with her. "I don't allow weakness in public." She drew in a shaky breath. "I'll do it. For the bakery. For my mother's memory." For just a second, something softer flickered in his gaze, but it vanished as quickly as it came. "Then let's go." The ballroom sparkled with golden light. Chandeliers hung above, violins played, and conversations hummed like a beehive. Alara's heart raced as photographers saw flashes lit up the moment Cassian walked in with her. His hand rested firmly at the small of her back. Whispers followed instantly. "Who is she? Another model? No. Look at how he holds her." Her throat tightened, but she lifted her chin high. Her mother's words whispered in her mind. Grace under fire, Alara. Always grace. Cassian led her toward a group of important men. His grip was steady, guiding her, though his voice stayed commanding. "Gentlemen," he said, "allow me to introduce Alara." Their eyes scanned her coldly, like measuring her worth. She forced a polite smile, though her palms sweated inside her clutch. "She's charming," one man said. "She's mine," Cassian replied instantly. His voice was firm, leaving no room for doubt. Alara's heart skipped. The claim, though staged, echoed deeper than she wished to admit. For the next hour, she endured introductions, clinking glasses, fake laughs. Cassian never left her side. His presence felt like both a shield and a chain. Each time she faltered, his hand pressed lightly on her back, steadying her. When they finally stepped away, Alara whispered through clenched teeth, "This isn't survival. It's suffocation." Cassian's eyes burned into hers. "It's survival dressed as power." Learn the difference. Her lips trembled, but she kept his stare. "And what if I don't want either?" "Then you'd be a fool," he whispered. "Because out there," he nodded toward the glittering room, "they'd devour you in minutes. Stay close to me, and you survive." Alara turned away, swallowing hard. She hated that his words made sense. She hated even more that, despite the suffocation, part of her felt safer with him than with her stepfather. As the evening ended, photographers swarmed the exit. Cassian's arm tightened firmly around her waist, pulling her closer. For the cameras, for the show. But when his hand lingered too long, when his breath brushed her temple, Alara's heart raced wildly. She knew then, This wasn't just appearances. It was a dangerous closeness she might not resist. The second night blurred into the third into the fourth. Alara lost count of how many holiday galas, charity dinners, and events she went to with Cassian. Every evening felt the same. She wore beautiful gowns, his hand guided her into the spotlight, and the cameras flashed. But under the fake smiles and practiced moves, something unexpected grew. It was in the way Cassian's gaze lingered too long when he introduced her, in how her forced laughter sometimes turned real when he whispered sharp jokes about the boring guests, and in how, when crowds pressed too close, his hand tightened protectively on her waist, not for the cameras, but for her. Alara noticed. She told herself not to, but she did. At one gala, as violins swelled, Alara slipped out to the balcony for fresh air. The cold wind stung her skin, but she welcomed it. She gripped the railing, staring at the glowing city, finally breathing without eyes watching her. "You did well tonight," Cassian's voice came from behind her. She turned quickly. He stood in the doorway, framed by the city's glow. His tie was loosened, his jacket undone, a rare crack in his perfect armor. "I wasn't acting for you," Alara said sharply. "You're acting for survival," Cassian answered, stepping closer. "But don't confuse the two. Survival with me is not the same as survival with him." Her throat tightened at the mention of her stepfather. "You think I should be grateful?" "I think," Cassian stopped just inches away, "that you're stronger than you know, and that scares you." Alara's heart pounded. His nearness felt like fire, and his words chipped away at the walls she had built. "Stop trying to read me." "I can't," he said, bracing his hand on the railing beside hers. Their hands didn't touch, but the space between them buzzed like electricity. "You intrigue me." Alara's breath hitched. "This is pretend. That's all." Cassian's eyes darkened, a faint smirk tugging his lips. "Then why are you trembling like you want me to close the distance?" Alara's chest tightened. She stepped back quickly, breaking the spell. "You're arrogant." "Confident," he corrected calmly. "There's a difference." She turned away, trying to steady her breath. Her skin still tingled where his hand had hovered, even though he hadn't touched her. Another night, at a big fundraiser, Alara's heel caught on the thick carpet. She stumbled. Before she could fall, Cassian's hand shot out, catching her waist. Their bodies collided for a second, her palms pressing against his chest. The contact sparked like fire. She froze, breath tangled with his. Cassian's eyes looked straight into Alara's, strong and steady. For a moment his hard face softened, and his voice was gentle. "You're safe," he whispered. Alara felt her fingers clutch his jacket before she quickly pulled back. Don't do that." "Save you?" Cassian asked, raising an eyebrow. "Make me feel." She stopped, biting her lip, too scared to finish. The words stayed stuck in her throat. Cassian gave a small smirk as if he understood anyway. Alara turned away from him, but her chest beat so fast she could hardly breathe. The truth was clear. Her mask was slipping. And Cassian's was too. As December nights passed, people began to whisper about them. Reporters wrote stories. Fancy women looked at Alara with jealousy. Businessmen whispered behind their glasses of champagne. Cassian never told anyone the truth. He let them believe Alara belonged to him. Alara told herself she hated it. But every time Cassian's hand touched her back, every time his voice calmed her nerves, she felt something inside her shift. What started as fear was turning into something far more dangerous, and Cassian knew it. One night after a long party, they rode the elevator up to his penthouse. Alara's sparkling gown caught the light, and Cassian's eyes followed her closely. She felt the heat of his stare until she snapped. "Stop looking at me like that." "Like what?" he asked calmly, though he didn't deny it. "Like you see something in me I can't." Cassian stepped closer without hesitation. "Maybe I do." Alara's breath caught. The elevator felt smaller and smaller, her back brushing the mirrored wall. Cassian lifted his hand, close to her cheek, but he didn't touch. His control only made her ache more. "Say the word," he whispered, "and I'll step back." But you won't. Alara opened her mouth, but no words came. She wanted to deny him, to push him away, but her silence betrayed her. When the elevator finally chimed, Cassian stepped back first. Good night, Alara. Her knees were weak as he walked away. Their masks were falling apart, replaced by something too real to hide. The Christmas gala was the biggest party of the season. The city's richest people gathered under golden lights to show their power. Alara stood at the entrance in a beautiful green dress that sparkled like water. Her hand trembled, but Cassian's palm pressed firmly at her back. Smile, he murmured near her ear. Remember, tonight we perform. Alara inhaled and forced a perfect smile. The ballroom doors opened. Music soared. Diamonds glittered. People gasped when Cassian Vale walked in with Alara at his side. Cameras flashed. Who is she? People whispered. He's never brought anyone before. She must be important. Alara's spine stiffened. Every stare felt like a test, but Cassian's strong grip guided her, making her feel steady. Don't falter, Cassian whispered, his voice smooth as velvet but sharp as steel. Alara lifted her chin. I know. For hours, they walked among the richest of the rich. Cassian's words were careful, controlled. Alara followed, speaking only when needed. But when she did, people noticed. She was smart, sharp, not just decoration. Cassian noticed too. When Alara answered a rude comment with calm wit, his eyes flicked to her with pride. She's more than interesting, Cassian said when a guest remarked on Alara. His hand tightened at her waist. Alara's breath caught at his possessive tone. Was it just for the cameras or something real? Later, the orchestra began to play a waltz. Couples filled the floor. Alara hesitated, clutching her glass. Cassian extended his hand. Dance. I can't. You can, he corrected, with me. Against her better judgment, Alara placed her hand in his. A rush of warmth spread through her. Cassian led her across the floor with ease. When she stumbled, he caught her instantly, pulling her closer. The world blurred. His mask slipped, showing something tender. Alara's heart raced. You're trembling again, Cassian murmured. It's the heels, she whispered, but her voice shook. He smirked. Liar. When the dance ended, applause filled the room. Alara stepped back, but Cassian's hand lingered on hers. Whispers filled the hall. He's never danced with anyone before. Look at the way he watched her. Alara's cheeks burned. Cassian hadn't looked at her like a pawn. He had looked at her like a woman who challenged him, and that terrified her. At midnight, Alara escaped to the balcony. The city sparkled below. She hugged herself against the cold. You handled yourself well tonight, Cassian's voice came from behind. Alara turned. His bow tie was undone, the first crack in his perfect mask. You make it sound like an exam, she muttered. In this world, every night is an exam, he said softly. And you passed better than I expected. He stepped closer, heat replacing the city's chill. Silence grew heavy. His eyes dropped to her lips, then rose again. We should go, Alara said weakly. Should we? Cassian's voice was low, dangerous. Or do you want to admit this performance feels real? Her chest tightened. She had no answer. Back at the penthouse, Alara walked ahead, her gown whispering against the marble. She told herself to breathe, to calm down. But she wasn't breathing. Cassian entered, removing his cufflinks, his eyes never leaving her. Was that enough of a show for you? She snapped. It wasn't a show. Not entirely. Alara laughed weakly. Don't twist this. It was all an act. Then tell me, Cassian stepped closer, his voice low. When I held you, when you trembled, was that pretend? Alara froze. Heat rushed through her. She turned away, but Cassian caught her wrist gently. Look at me. She did. And in his eyes, she didn't see the ruthless CEO. She saw a man fighting the same battle inside. This can't happen, she whispered. It already is. His thumb brushed her wrist. The space vanished. Cassian kissed her, raw and hungry. Alara tried to resist, but her body betrayed her. Her hands clutched his shirt. The kiss deepened, masks shattering. When he pulled back, his forehead rested on hers. You don't know what you're doing to me. I don't know what I'm doing to myself, she whispered. Cassian's voice broke. I told myself this was just business. But you, his jaw tightened. Then stop, Alara whispered, though her hands held on. Tell me you don't want this, and I'll stop. Her silence was her answer. Cassian kissed her again, fiercer. Alara melted, surrendering to the storm. This changes everything, he whispered. It shouldn't, she breathed, but it does. A heavy silence fell. Alara's body burned with desire she never thought she'd feel. Cassian looked shaken, as if she had broken through his armor. Finally, he stepped back. Go to your room before I forget why I should stop. Her body screamed to stay, but she obeyed, shutting the door and clutching her racing heart. What have I done? She whispered. Wait a second. If you're enjoying this story, make sure to subscribe and share your favorite part in the comments below. And don't forget to drop a heart to show your support. In the living room, Cassian stared out at the city. For the first time in years, control had slipped, and he wasn't sure he wanted it back. The days after the gala were full of tension. Alara avoided Cassian's gaze, but silence buzzed between them. They had crossed a line. Then, on a cold afternoon, Alara sat in the penthouse library when her phone buzzed. The name made her stomach drop. Stepdad. Her hands shook as she answered. You've been busy, his sly voice hissed, walking at galas with Cassian Vale, looking like a queen, but don't forget who really owns your crown. Alara's blood ran cold. Alara's chest felt tight. What do you want? She asked on the phone. A mean laugh came from the other side. Straight to the point. Good girl. What I want is simple. Access. The voice kept talking. Cassian's empire has doors I can't open, but you can. Help me, or I'll tell the world all your secrets. Alara froze. Secrets? Oh, don't pretend, the voice sneered. Do you think Cassian would keep you if he knew the truth? About your family's debts? About your mother's estate? About that envelope you're hiding like it's your last hope? One leak, Alara, and Cassian will throw you away. Her fingers gripped the phone tighter. You wouldn't. I would, the voice said coldly. Unless you do what I say. Get me into his circle. Get me power. The call ended. Alara's breath came in little gasps. He had found a new way to trap her. Through Cassian. Worse, he knew her biggest fear. Being cast aside, not just by her stepfather, but also by the man whose touch she still remembered. That evening, Cassian came home from meetings. His jaw looked tight, his tie loose. He dropped a folder on the desk and rubbed his forehead. The board is restless, he said. There are whispers about enemies circling. Alara's heart jumped. What kind of enemies? The kind that strike from the shadows, Cassian muttered. His eyes narrowed at her pale face. What is it? Alara wanted to tell him, to warn him, but fear stopped her tongue. If Cassian knew she was tied to her stepfather's schemes, he might think she was guilty too. Nothing, she whispered, looking away. Cassian stared at her, then poured himself a glass of whiskey. If there's something I need to know, you'll tell me. Secrets don't survive long in my world. Alara nodded, but guilt burned in her chest. 2 nights later, the storm arrived. Alara left the penthouse for some air. In the garage, her stepfather was waiting in the shadows. His suit looked cheap compared to Cassian's, but his arrogance was the same. Alara, he said smoothly. Lovely to see you doing so well. Her stomach churned. You shouldn't be here. On the contrary, he smirked. I belong here more than you think. Cassian's empire has cracks, and I will break them wide. But I need your help. Alara crossed her arms to hide her shaking hands. Why would I help you? Because if you don't, he hissed, leaning close, I'll tell Cassian everything. That you knew about my dirty deals, that you've been hiding documents, that envelope in your bag, one photo, one whisper, and he'll believe you're part of my corruption. Alara's heart pounded. That's not true. Truth doesn't matter, he sneered. Perception does, and Cassian believes what benefits him. Don't test me, girl. You'll lose him faster than you can blink. Tears burned her eyes, but she held his gaze. What do you want? Information, he said. Cassian schedules his weaknesses, who he trusts. Give me that, and your secrets stay hidden. Alara felt trapped again, The cage around her was rebuilt. Before she could answer, footsteps echoed. Cassian walked out of the shadows, his eyes icy. I wondered when the rat would crawl back. Alara's stepfather stiffened, then forced a smile. Cassian Vale, still as charming as ever. Stay away from her, Cassian said coldly, and stay away from my empire. But Alara's stepfather only smirked. You think you own her? You think she'll stay loyal to you once she knows what I know? Be careful, Vale. Empires fall from within. His eyes cut to Alara like a blade. Then he turned and vanished into the night. Cassian's gaze snapped to her. What was that? Alara's lips parted, but no words came. The secrets pressed like knives in her chest. She wanted to tell him, but fear chained her tongue. Don't lie to me, Cassian said, voice sharp. If you keep something from me, it won't just hurt you. It will hurt us both. Alara trembled. She realized then her stepfather wasn't just threatening her, he was threatening to destroy Cassian's empire, using her as the weapon. Alara couldn't sleep. She lay awake in the giant guest suite, her stepfather's words echoing. Truth doesn't matter. Perception does. Each time she closed her eyes, she saw Cassian's face in the garage, demanding answers she couldn't give. Her silence had dug a canyon between them. By morning, the tension was ice. At breakfast, Cassian sat at the head of the table, reading reports. His face was unreadable. Alara tried to sip her coffee, but her hand shook so badly the cup rattled. Finally, Cassian spoke, his voice calm, too calm. Do you plan on telling me what last night was about? Alara's throat tightened. It's complicated. Cassian set the tablet down slowly, his eyes pinning her. Complicated is the language of liars. Start explaining. Heat rushed to her cheeks. He's threatening me. Threatening us. If I don't... If you don't what? Cassian pressed. Alara stopped, fear choking her. I saw the way you looked at him, Cassian said. That wasn't surprise. That was recognition. You've been in contact with him, haven't you? Her chest ached. Not willingly. He cornered me. With what? Cassian demanded. Alara pressed her lips shut. The envelope, the debts, the secrets. If she revealed everything, Cassian might see her as dirty. But holding back only made his suspicion grow. Cassian stood, his voice low and dangerous. I built my empire on loyalty. Betrayal, even by omission, destroys everything. Tell me right now, whose side are you on? Tears stung her eyes. I don't want sides. I just want to survive. That's not enough. Cassian slammed his hand on the table. Mike, the crack made her flinch. Survival doesn't save you. Choosing does. Loyalty does. Alara's voice broke. And what if loyalty cost me everything else? The silence after was heavier than a scream. Cassian's chest rose and fell, his anger clashing with hurt. He stepped closer, voice sharp like a knife. Did you help him? Alara's eyes widened. No, I swear. Did you give him anything? Information? Access? No, she cried. I wouldn't do that to you. But doubt still flickered in Cassian's eyes. Then why do I feel like you're hiding something from me? Her lips trembled. Because I am. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Cassian froze. What? Alara clutched the table. I've been keeping things from you, about him, about what he's done. I thought if I held it, I could protect you, protect myself. But now it looks like betrayal. Cassian's voice cut in, raw. Alara, her tears spilled. It's not betrayal. Please believe me. I'm trapped between him and you. If I tell you everything, he'll destroy me. If I say nothing, you'll destroy me. Cassian's fists clenched. For a moment, the mask cracked, revealing not just anger, but pain. Do you know what it feels like, he said slowly, to let someone close only to suspect they're already tearing you apart? Alara gasped. You think I would do that? I don't know what to think anymore, Cassian admitted, voice ragged. And that terrifies me more than anything your stepfather could do. The words cut deep. She had expected punishment, but not this. Doubt that felt like betrayal. She reached for him. Cassian? He stepped back out of reach. Don't. The distance between them was like a wall. Alara's heart cracked. What do you want me to do? She whispered. Choose him or me, Cassian said, his eyes sharp. Secrets or truth, but if you choose wrong, Alara, I won't forgive you. The ultimatum hung heavy in the air. She wanted to scream that she chose him, but fear of her stepfather's threats silenced her. Cassian's jaw tightened at her hesitation. That's all I needed to see. He turned and walked away. Alara's tears fell. She had tried to protect him, but all she had done was break the fragile bond between them. And as the door closed, Alara realized the truth. Her stepfather didn't need to expose her. The seed of doubt was already blooming, poisoning everything. That night, Alara hurried down the quiet street. The penthouse had felt suffocating, but something felt wrong. A black car sat at the curb, its headlights cut through the mist. Her pulse quickened. The rear door opened. Her stepfather stepped out, his smile sharp. You shouldn't be wandering alone, Alara. The city isn't safe for girls who bite the hand that feeds them. Alara froze, clutching her bag. What do you want now? What I've always wanted, he said. Leverage, and tonight, I'll get it. Two large men stepped out of the car. Alara's breath caught. No, you wouldn't. Her stepfather's smile widened. You force my hand. Cassian Vale thinks he's untouchable, but even kings bleed. And you, my dear, will help me draw that blood. The men grabbed her arms. Alara struggled, screaming, kicking, but the street was empty. Far away, Cassian sat in his office. He couldn't focus since leaving Alara in tears. Doubt clawed at him, but so did something else, his need to protect her. His phone buzzed. One of his men spoke urgently. Mr. Vale, unusual activity near the East Blocks. Black sedan, registered under one of your stepfather's shell companies. And Alara, she's there. Cassian's blood ran cold. Track it, he ordered. Within minutes, his network lit up with street cameras and feeds. He saw her struggling. He saw her stepfather smirking beside the car. Cassian's jaw tightened. Fury burned. He thinks he can use her against me. Not tonight. He grabbed his coat and strode out. Alara kicked and screamed. Let me go. Her stepfather leaned close. Scream all you want. Soon Cassian will come, and when he does, I'll have what I need to crush him. Alara spat. You're pathetic, using me like bait because you're too afraid to face him yourself. His smile faltered, then twisted. Bait wins wars. Remember that. Just as one man shoved her toward the car, headlights blazed at the end of the street. A sleek black SUV screeched to a stop. Doors flew open. Cassian stepped out, cutting through the night like a blade. Let her go, he thundered. The men stiffened. Alara's heart leapt at the sight of him. Her stepfather chuckled. Cassian Vale, always so dramatic. You think showing up alone makes you a hero? Cassian smirked coldly. Who said I came alone? From the shadows, half a dozen of Cassian's men appeared, weapons drawn, surrounding the sedan. The night changed very fast. Alara's kidnappers looked scared, their hands letting go of her. Let her go, Cassian said in a strong, loud voice. The men pushed Alara forward and quickly stepped back. They didn't feel brave anymore when Cassian stood there. Alara tripped, but Cassian caught her before she could fall. He held her close against his chest. Her stepfather sneered at them. You can't protect her forever, he said. One day she will fall apart. And when that day comes, she will pull you down too. Cassian's eyes burned with fire. The only one falling apart tonight is you, he answered. At his signal, his men rushed in. Alara's stepfather cursed and quickly ran toward his car. This isn't finished, he shouted before driving away fast into the night. His helpers ran away too, scattering like frightened birds. The street grew quiet again, except for Alara's shaky breaths. She grabbed Cassian's coat, trembling hard. You came, she whispered in a broken voice. Cassian lifted her chin gently. His eyes were softer now, though anger still glowed inside them. Of course I came. Did you really think I would let him take you away? Her tears ran down her cheeks. I thought after everything that happened, you would stop caring about me. For a moment, Cassian's jaw tightened. His feelings showed in his face. I wanted to be angry at you. I wanted to doubt you, but when I saw you in his hands, he shook his head. I knew nothing is more important than keeping you safe. Alara's chest hurt at his honest words. For once, there were no secrets. No deals, just the truth. She pressed her forehead against his chest and whispered, "I'm sorry I didn't tell you everything. I was so scared." Cassian wrapped his strong arms around her. "We'll fight him together, but never hide from me again, Alara. Your secrets almost got you killed." Alara nodded while leaning against him. At last, her body started to relax in his embrace. For the first time in many days, she felt safe, not because her stepfather had run away, but because Cassian chose to stand beside her even when doubt tried to break them apart. Above them, the city lights sparkled, and not caring about what had happened below. But for Alara, this night was very important. Her stepfather's power over her was breaking, and Cassian's protection was not just duty. It was something deeper, something almost like love. But the danger was not over. Even though most of the men had run away, one man stayed hidden in the shadows. Cassian and Alara were walking back to the SUV when Alara gasped. She saw the shine of a gun too late. Bang! A loud shot filled the air. In a second, Cassian pulled Alara close and turned his body. She felt him jerk as the bullet scraped his side. They fell hard against the car. Pain covered his face, but his arms did not let go of her. Alara panicked. "You're hurt!" Cassian gritted his teeth. Blood spread across his white shirt, but he forced himself to stand tall. "It's nothing," he growled, scanning the street. His men had already jumped on the shooter and dragged him out. The danger was stopped, but Cassian's wound showed the price. Alara pressed her hands against his bleeding side, tears falling fast. "You risked your life for me." His fierce eyes locked on hers. "I'd do it again," he said. Alara's heart broke. She had doubted him, feared him, even hidden secrets from him, but here he was bleeding because he refused to let her go. Later at the penthouse, chaos filled the place. Doctors rushed in when Cassian ordered. They worked quickly, sewing up the wound. Alara stood near him the whole time, shaking, her chest heavy with guilt. When the doctors left, Cassian leaned back on the sofa. He looked pale, but still strong. Alara knelt beside him, brushing her fingers over the bandage. "You could have died," she whispered, her voice cracking. He lifted his hand and touched her cheek softly. "You're worth it," he said. Her tears came faster. She leaned into his hand, sobbing. "I don't deserve you. I hid things from you. I made you doubt me." "Stop," Cassian said firmly, though his voice was weak. "I doubted because I was afraid. I built walls so high that no one could get close. Then you came and broke those walls. You scare me more than any enemy ever could." Alara gasped. "Scare you? Why?" "Because you make me want," he said softly, his thumb brushing her cheek. "You make me want more than control. You make me want you." Alara's tears blurred her eyes, but deep inside her, desire was stronger than grief. She pressed her forehead against his. "Then take me," she whispered. "Not as a deal, not as a game. Take me as me." Cassian pulled her close and kissed her. The kiss was hot, raw, and full of fire. Alara kissed him back with all her fear and all her longing. She climbed carefully into his lap, mindful of his wound, but unable to stop. Their mouths clashed, their breaths fast and desperate. "You don't know," Cassian murmured against her lips, "how close I came to losing you tonight. I can't let that happen again." Alara kissed him harder. "Then don't push me away. Don't doubt me. I need you." Their kisses slowed, deep and tender now. Alara held his face in her hands, brushing his hair back. Each kiss felt like a promise. Each touch felt like hope. When they pulled apart, both were breathless. Cassian rested his forehead against hers, his eyes soft. "Alara," he whispered, "you're mine. Not because of a deal, not because of what people see, because I choose you." Her heart swelled. "And I choose you, Cassian. No matter what he tries, no matter the shadows, I choose you." For the first time, they both chose each other, not for survival, but for love. The night had almost destroyed them, but it had also tied them together in a way no fake arrangement ever could. Then news came like a sudden storm. Cassian's men answered the phone first, their voices sharp. Alara's stepfather had been badly hurt in an attack meant for someone else. By the time Alara heard, He was lying weak in a hospital bed, close to death. Cassian offered to keep her away. "I can protect you from this," he said, but Alara shook her head. "I have to see him. If I don't, I will never feel free." The hospital smelled sharp and cold. Alara's heels clicked on the floor as she walked, her hands shaking. Cassian walked silently beside her. In the dim room, her stepfather looked small and weak. Tubes and machines kept him alive. His sharp eyes were dull now. But when he saw Alara, a small smirk appeared. "You came," he rasped. Alara froze at the door. Memories filled her mind, his threats, his lies, the way he treated her like a thing to trade. But this man in bed was not the scary tyrant she remembered. This was a man at the end. She stepped closer. "Why?" she asked, her voice breaking. "Why did you push me into Cassian's world? Why did you ruin everything just to tie me to him?" He coughed, his voice rough. Alara thought he might not answer. Then his tired eyes lifted. For a moment there was a spark of something almost soft. "Because you remind me of your mother," he said. Alara froze. His words hit deep. She was strong, loyal, and fierce, but the world ate her alive because she had no one to protect her. "I swore I wouldn't let you end the same way. Cassian, he's a man who doesn't bend. I thought if I tied you to him you would live, you would have a future." Alara's breath caught. "You destroyed my life and called it protection." His lips curved into a sad smile. "I destroyed myself long before you. Greed, debt, mistakes. I ruined everything I touched. But you're different. You deserved better. My way was twisted, but it was all I had left to give." Tears filled Alara's eyes. "You could have trusted me. You could have given me a choice." His voice softened. "I didn't trust myself enough to give you choices, so I forced one on you. It was my last gamble. My last way of loving the woman I once cared for." Silence hung heavy. Alara's tears finally fell. For years she thought his cruelty was only selfishness. But now, seeing him weak, she saw something more twisted. A broken kind of love. "Alara," he whispered. His hand shook as he reached for hers. "Promise me one thing. Don't waste what I gave you. Cassian will fight for you in ways I never could. Stay with him. Build the life your mother dreamed of for you." Alara's chest hurt. "You have no right to ask me that. Not after everything." "I know," he whispered, "but it's all I have left." Her hand hovered, torn between pulling away and showing mercy. At last she placed her hand over his. "You hurt me. You broke me. But I won't let your sins chain me forever. I'll live my life, not because you ask me to, but because I choose it." His lips curved faintly, as if that was enough. His chest rose once, twice, then stilled. The machines wailed. Alara cried, but Cassian's arms were around her at once, holding her strong. She pressed her face into his chest, whispering, "It's over. He's gone." "Yes," Cassian said softly in her ear, "but you're free now. Free to choose us." Alara clung to him, her grief heavy, but also lighter somehow. Her stepfather had been cruel and unforgivable. Yet in the end, he was also a broken man searching for redemption in the only way he knew. The hospital room still smelled of fading breath and medicine when Alara stepped into the hallway. Her stepfather's last words echoed in her mind. "Don't waste what I gave you." She trembled, not only from grief, but from the storm inside her heart. Should she forgive or should she hate? Should she honor his twisted love or bury it with his sins? Cassian stood waiting by the windows, his hands in his pockets, his frame tense in the light of dawn. When he saw her tear-stained face, his eyes softened. "He's gone," Alara whispered. Cassian nodded once. "What did he say to you?" Alara swallowed hard. "Too much. He said everything he did was for me, that giving me to you was his way of protecting me, his loyalty to my mother." Cassian's jaw tightened. "Loyalty? By trading you like a thing to own?" "That wasn't loyalty. That was desperation." Tears ran down Alara's cheeks again. "I know, and yet part of me wonders if I should forgive him. For her. For the woman he claimed to love. For the broken way he tried to save me." The hallway was silent, filled only with the hum of machines far away. Cassian stepped closer to Alara. His voice was soft, almost breaking. Alara, forgiving is a choice, but forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. You can stop carrying the pain he gave you without saying what he did was okay. Alara's lips shook. But if I forgive him, doesn't that mean I accept what he did to me? No, Cassian said strongly. It means you free yourself. Hate is like a prison, Alara. If you hold it, you stay trapped. Fras don't carry his sins as your own. She looked at him, her chest hurting. And what about us? You doubted me. You pulled away when I needed you most. Part of me is still hurt. Cassian's eyes filled with guilt. I know, and I'll spend as long as it takes to prove I was wrong. You deserve trust, not doubt. I cannot change the past, but I can choose differently now. Alara's breath caught. Both of them stood with their hearts open like glass that could break. So what do we do? She whispered. Keep fighting each other or choose something new. Cassian stepped closer until only one breath was between them. He touched her cheek carefully, almost like he was afraid. We choose us, if you'll still have me. Alara closed her eyes. Her stepfather's threats, Cassian's mistakes, her own fears, all rushed back like waves. But under all that, she remembered something stronger. Cassian pulling her from danger, bleeding for her, holding her when her world fell apart. She opened her eyes, tears shining. I should hate him, and part of me always will, but I won't let hate rule my life. I choose to forgive, not for him, but for me. Cassian's thumb caught her tears. And me? He asked softly. Alara's voice trembled, but she held his eyes. I choose you, Cassian, even if it scares me, even if it hurts sometimes. I choose you. The relief on Cassian's face was so raw it almost broke him. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight so she could feel his heartbeat. He was no longer the powerful CEO everyone feared. He was just a man holding the woman who had become his home. Alara buried her face in his chest, her tears wetting his shirt. Don't let me regret this. You won't, he promised, his voice steady in her hair. Not while I breathe. Their lips met in a kiss. It wasn't only fire or passion. It was slower, deeper, filled with trust, with wounds slowly healing, with two hearts risking everything. When they pulled away, Alara whispered, Then let's build something different. Not from fear, not from survival, from truth. Cassian touched his forehead to hers. His eyes were strong but soft. From us. And in that moment, with death behind them and a new dawn ahead, Alara knew she had chosen not only to forgive and love, but also to live. The days after Alara's stepfather's death were quiet but heavy. The world outside went on with its power and greed, but inside Cassian's penthouse, silence filled the rooms. Not cold silence, but silence that asked for something real. One evening, Alara stood at the tall window, watching snow drift slowly past the glass. The city sparkled beneath her, full of life and secrets. Yet she felt exposed and fragile. Behind her, Cassian spoke softly. You're distant. She turned, her heart catching at the sight of him. No jacket, sleeves rolled up, his sharp edges softened by tiredness. I don't mean to be, she said. I'm just afraid this is all pretend. Cassian crossed the room quickly, stopping inches away. Nothing about us is pretend anymore. Not after what we've faced, not after what I almost lost. Alara leaned into his hand as he touched her cheek. Tears filled her eyes. Then promise me something. No more games, no more fake appearances, no more silent tests. If we do this, it has to be real. His eyes didn't move from hers. I promise, but I need something from you too. Her chest tightened. What? Trust me, Cassian said simply. Not because I'm powerful, not because I can protect you. Trust me because you choose me. The words sank deep inside her, pulling at wounds she didn't know were still open. I want to, she whispered. But trust doesn't grow in one night. Then we'll build it, Cassian said. Brick by brick. No contracts, no bargains, just us. Alara's breath shook. For so long she had been a piece in her stepfather's games and Cassian's control. But now, staring into his eyes, she saw something new. Choice. Her choice. She lifted her chin. Then I choose you. Not because of fear, not because of power, because when I'm with you, even in chaos, I feel safe. Cassian exhaled, his body relaxing like her words had set him free. He pulled her into his arms. "And I choose you, Alara. Not as a deal, not as a show, as the woman who broke every wall I built." Their lips met again, soft and slow. This time it wasn't fire or storms, but something stronger. Two people placing the first stones of something lasting. When they parted, Alara rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. "So where do we go now?" "Forward," Cassian said, stroking her hair. "The Empire, the enemies, the pressure, they'll still be there, but we'll face them as one. No more secrets, no more masks." Alara smiled faintly, a tear slipping free. "That sounds terrifying." He chuckled warmly. "It is, but so is love, and that's what makes it worth it." For the first time in weeks, Alara laughed softly. Cassian's smile grew wide at the sound. "I've missed that," he whispered. She looked up, her eyes shining. "Then don't give me reasons to stop." He kissed her forehead gently. "Never again." That night, they sat together on the balcony, wrapped in a blanket against the cold. The city glowed beneath them, full of secrets. But up here, it was just them. Cassian poured 2 glasses of wine and handed one to Alara. "To us," he said simply. She touched her glass to his. "To us." They drank in silence, the weight of betrayal and pain lifting little by little, replaced by something stronger. Alara leaned against him, finally allowing herself to believe in tomorrow. Because love wasn't only fire or storms, love was choice, and tonight they chose each other. Snow fell steadily outside the tall windows of Cassian's penthouse. The flakes sparkled in the holiday lights. Inside, the fire burned warmly, filling the room with a soft glow. Alara stood by the fire, her green eyes reflecting the flames. She had lived through storms, fear, and betrayal. But tonight felt different. Tonight felt like a beginning. Cassian came toward her with 2 mugs of hot chocolate. Alara blinked. "You made cocoa?" Cassian smirked. "Don't tell the board. It would ruin my reputation." She laughed lightly. "Your secret is safe with me." They sat together on the couch, shoulders touching, the fire warming their skin. For a while they sat in silence. Then Cassian took her hand. "Alara," he said softly, "I've made vows before. Contracts, deals, promises to men who would sell their souls. But none of those mattered. This does." Her breath caught. "What are you saying?" He turned to her fully, the firelight painting his face. "I vow not as a CEO, not as the man who doubted you, but as the man who almost lost you. I vow to trust you, fight for you, and build something real with you. Not from power, not from performance, but from love." Alara's chest ached, tears spilling. "Cassian," he lifted her hand to his heart, "this is yours. Always." Alara's tears ran down her face, but her smile glowed. "Then I vow this. No more fear, no more silence. I'll stand with you, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard, because love isn't about being easy. It's about being loyal." They kissed, soft, long, filled with every scar they carried and every hope they had. When they pulled away, Cassian brushed her tear away. "Merry Christmas, Alara." "Merry Christmas," she whispered, her voice trembling with joy. Later, they walked onto the balcony, wrapped in one blanket. Snowflakes landed in Alara's hair like tiny stars. Cassian looked at the city he had built. For the first time, he didn't feel alone at the top. Alara squeezed his hand. "Do you think people can really change?" He looked down at her. "I don't know about all people, but I know I have because of you." Alara rested her head on his shoulder. "And I've changed too. I used to think survival was all I had. Now I know love can be strength too." They stood in silence, the future wide before them. At last, Cassian spoke firmly, like a promise and a prayer. "Whatever comes, the threats, the shadows, the empire, I'll face it with you. No more masks, no more pretending, only us." Alara looked up, her smile certain. "Only us." Their kiss sealed the vow. Snow fell around them like a blessing. Love is not the end of pain, nor the escape from betrayal. Love is the choice to rise from it, hand in hand. Alara and Cassian had walked through storms of fear and mistrust, but by choosing loyalty, by choosing each other, they found healing. True love is not made in easy times, but in fire. and when loyalty binds it, even the deepest wounds can heal. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed it, you'll love the next one. It's even more exciting, and full of surprises. Share your story in the comments below. Maybe your story will be the next one I share.